All right. Good night, everybody. And welcome back. This is the Light Body Living Podcast. We're going to have an episode today. We're talking about your digestive health or your gut health. My name is Chantel Selman. I am a botanical health coach, herbalist, iridologist, and raw food chef. And I'm going to help guide you from my years of experience at the Light Body Holistic Clinic on a vibrant journey towards your optimal health. Okay, so in this episode, we're going to be definitely talking about gut health and how to master it so you can get over some of those symptoms that have been nagging you for quite a while. So we're going to do a nice deep dive into exploring how to nourish and heal your gut, rejuvenate it for long term vitality. Okay, we're going to be talking about fasting, we're going to talk about nutrient absorption, we're going to talk about iridology, how I can track your gut health, things that I see going on, rebuilding your microbiome, the vitality and role of the pyrite patch because it's something that I do see in my iridology readings. Making nice, delicious fermented foods is also a must, and there are lots of healing herbs, bitters, digestive enzymes that you can use to really help with the digestive issues. Um, so, grab your favorite herbal tea and sit down and let's get started on this journey tonight. So let's start with the fundamental things or things that I usually see going on. Um, Overall, with people's gut health, they don't realize that your gut is actually almost like a second brain. It's over 70% of your immune system resides in your gut, and this absorbs a lot of the vital nutrients and fuel that you need for your cells in your body. A healthy gut means that you have more energy, clearer skin, it improves your mental clarity, and when the gut is out of balance, you see the opposite. You see fatigue, inflammation, bloating, brain fog, and some of the conditions can get pretty serious. So, for example, when it comes to iridology readings, you can definitely see the stomach acid when it is out of balance. You can see irritation around the lining. You can see anxieties, which contribute to anxieties and stress. Stress rings anxiety. They contribute emotionally to this process. That acidity, when it's out of balance, it really tends to affect your joints, and it also affects your cholesterol levels, which in turn affects your circulation. Um, but we're going to go through some natural tools that you can use, like the fasting and rebuilding the microbiome and consuming certain herbs that really will be helpful. And a lot of people come into to see me with digestive issues. And one of the things that I really recommend, and we've talked about this before on the podcast, is doing an alkaline juice fast. And this is a cucumber based fast for us. It's one of our signature cleanses. But what it does is it really helps with nutrient absorption. And this is part of the alkaline protocol where you are resetting your gut. You really want those green juices in there because a lot of the modern processed foods, sugary foods, um, even the stress we were just talking about can make the body system a bit too acid, inflamed, your digestion gets poor. So you really want to work on fasting first. Okay, so the fasting is I can actually monitor it, and going to get into this a little further down. But you can actually see how what your absorption rate is like. So, um, putting yourself through a nice juice cleanse, 3, 5, or 7 days, really helps to improve your nutrient absorption, and then it helps to break away that mucoid plaque that lines the intestine, so that once that's removed, it makes it easier for you to absorb a lot of the nutrients from your foods. And as if the foods are high raw, then you're talking about high nutrient density, and that takes you on a whole different path. But what happens after the cleanse is also important. So this is where refeeding comes in. So we're going to talk a little bit more about cleansing, but then I'm going to talk a little bit about refeeding. So tracking your absorption rate. So there's actually a ring on the inside around the pupil area. So the iris of the eye is what you're looking at, and in the pupil area, there around the edge is where you see the absorption ring, and the absorption ring changes depending on what's going on. So you can track actually by specific markings how the person's absorption is doing. So as it gets lighter, it it means that the protocol is working. So you can see where it's at when they first come in, and after they've done a cleanse, you can also see where it's at. So they're absorbing a lot of more nutrients, and this is a really powerful tool to make sure that you can track their progress, um, because it's key. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not absorbing the nutrients, then it makes it difficult for you to get any kind of medicines in, whether it's food medicine or herbal medicine, to really help balance your system. And your gut health really expands out into so many other things, like I told you before. Um, Things that cause it can be emotional as well as your food, but things that it can affect are wide ranging, especially when it comes to um, people's joint health, their cholesterol levels, because we produce cholesterol. So when the body system gets too acid, that can cause a raise in the cholesterol levels, and then it starts to affect your blood flow. Now let's talk a little bit about refeeding. There is a little survey up about your bloating. I wanted to find out from people, how do they feel after they're eating. Are they experience a lot of bloating? So I do have a little poll up here, and if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat so that we can so I can answer them as I keep going. So when after you've done your cleanse, I always ask people to do a gentle refeeding before they get back into their regular eating habits. So um, if you're fasting for 3 days, at least a day and a half, you should do and when I say gentle, you meaning that you're using light, soft things on your system so that your body can acclimate back into eating larger quantities of food. So you kind of do the green smoothies, you do some soup, you do a fruit bowl, things like that. Just eating fruits. So you can slowly break yourself back in. If you're doing 5 day cleanse, you would do, it's always about half as much days. So you can do that 2.5 days to get yourself back on track. 10 days, you do like 5 days of refeeding. And then once you get into it, you want to know, you don't want to go back now to eating the way you were eating before, because that is part of the problem when there's a lot of processed sugary foods going in, um, and lots of meat, very heavy carbs. These things convert to acid in your system, and they create a lot more irritation. So you want to refeed and then rebuild your microbiome in a very different way. And you do that by increasing your um, veggies, especially fibrous things. Those things really help. But also putting in some fermented foods will help to rebuild the gut biome. And once you break your fast, and you start getting into building out that nice garden in there, you want to put in beneficial bacteria. So to do that, a lot of people go to probiotics, but I like to use fermented foods. And one of the ones that we choose to do, which we actually start to do while you're cleansing, is we put it as part of your protocol for your 3 day cleanse. So you get little shots of kombucha to start the process of building back out your good bacteria. And I like to do that. And part of our cleanse, we also do um, the aloe vera lemonade, which is a really good way to soften up any compacted stuff in your system and really help, because it's mucilaginous, it really helps to coat the lining from your mouth to your anus, making it a lot easier to clean and clear that microbiome that needs to be changed out. So now you're talking about putting in some fermented food. So kombucha, I like to do coconut kefir. We usually make it using coconut jelly, and there's so many different fermented things now. Because there's kimchi, there's sauerkraut, and there are lots of different fermented things. Is okra water good beneficial for your gut health? Yes, it is very beneficial because of its mucilaginous nature. It also is very helpful in lining the gut wall and helping with soothing, especially when you're having things like ulcers or irritation of the esophagus. You want to use mucilaginous things, so okras, aloe vera, slippery elm. These are kind of things that you would use to really help to soothe that area. So yeah, so the answer to that is for sure yes. So you want to put in different fermented foods as part of helping, because these fermented food, and now I know you're wondering what in the Caribbean um, have we used over the years, but fermented food is actually cultured food. So each culture has its own cultured food. So I always used to wonder what ours was in the Caribbean. Since we've been displaced from Africa and we came here, what did we create here that we use as our fermented food? And when you look back at some of the properties of the sorrel that used to be made, the ginger beer that used to be made. These were actually fermented. And when you hear people describe how they used to make them for different occasions, it was a tradition where it was a fermented drink. And these would be things that gave us a lot of the mic, good bacteria that we've been looking for in our body system. And we don't get those anymore because the drinks are made literally as drinks now. And they don't go through the fermented process. In a lot of cases, they are made processed. So they kind of skip that. So now you've brought in these things like kombucha. We can make sorrel flavored ones. Um, so because you can do the sorrel tea and ferment it, so you have a really nice, rich fermented drink that has the good bacteria in it. Ginger beer is another one. Ginger or making fresh ginger beer is something that you can use to get that fermented um, good bacteria back into your system. Okay, but for those of you that are watching that are in Barbados, we make the kombucha on a regular, and once we get ourselves a good quantity of coconut jelly, I make coconut kefir on regular basis as well. But there's a lot of other things that you can ferment. I usually ferment my cheeses as well. When I make a ackee cheese, I ferment it and age it so that you're getting some of that good bacteria always when you're taking a good quality cheese. Those are not cheeses. Um, okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the priory patch, which is part of the immune functioning of your body. It is it is almost like you have a little bit of your lymphatic system or a little bit of lymphatic tissue in the small intestine. So it is there to monitor what is going on. It monitors the gut bacteria, the formation or the levels of your immune system, and it helps to support it, especially when you're fasting, you're putting in good bacteria, the T's. These are things that support the functioning and make sure that the prairie patch is sending a good signal to the brain that everything is going well in the small intestines. It tells it when there's too much mucoid plaque and these kind of things. And this is where, when I do the iridology reading, you can see um, if it is too congested and if it's time that you have to do a cleanse. But in most people's cases, I like to do at least a 3 day cleanse to clean out your system before you change your or reset your diet. And this is really important to get rid of any harmful pathogens that don't balance out your microbiome at all. Okay, so that step is really critical. So when it comes to making kombucha now, I don't know if y'all are au fait with making it, but it's usually made by making a tea. So the original way was done where they make a tea, like a green tea, and it's sweetened, and then you use something called a SCOBY, which is a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. It kind of looks, I don't even know what to say. I describe it to look like. It's just a colony of bacteria. It kind of looks like a thick, um, kind of slimy. I'm sorry about that. Um, a thick, round. What should I say? It floats on the top of the tea, and it really eats up all the sugar, and it usually gets pretty thick, about a half inch thick, and that you can use from different. I'm sorry, not even figuring out how to turn this off. All right, so and you can do well as a herbalist. I got into doing it with different herbs itself, and one of the ones I find that works really well is kombucha, is sorrel, and then I like to do passion fruit, and I also do a calabash one. But once you have put the SCOBY and you're sweeten the tea with, I use brown sugar. That works really well. The SCOBY loves brown sugar, and you get this tart, fizzy kind of drink that is full of those friendly bacteria. And you can do that one if you want to try making one at home for yourself, or you can do coconut kefir, where you're fermenting coconut jelly. That's a little bit more of a process, but that's also can be done so that you're creating or supporting your digestive system. So those are ones that you can look into in terms of doing ferments. All right, let's talk a little bit about herbal teas. There's so many different herbal teas that you can use. It's a fantastic way to support your digestive system and to really help to heal your gut. There's so many people that come in with digestive issues as at the core of a lot of the other things that are going on, and gently cleaning out the gut, getting the pH, the pH of your stomach is actually supposed to be high, like around 2. where you're quite acid to break down all the foods that come in. So you want to um, you want to be able to balance it so that your gut can produce the right amount of digestive juices to break down the foods. But usually we have bloating, we have acid reflux, we have sometimes irritable bowel syndrome, leaky gut. Um, and this stems from different things. So, like I was telling you earlier, you can also have a problem where your stress levels or your anxiety levels, frustration, anger, these kind of things can really affect your acidity. And then what you eat, sometimes the same foods that you eat are comfort foods. Those comfort foods tend to be quite acid, so they compound the problem overall. So getting yourself into incorporating a tea in your daily routine, where you can reduce the inflammation and improve the healing, is really important. So I have a formulation that I have been using for a very long time, called stomach, that is very helpful at strengthening the lining of your stomach and really balancing things back out. And we also like to put that and pair that with digestive enzyme bitters. This digestive enzyme bitters definitely took a while to get the formulation right, because before I had them separate. I had the bitters and the digestive enzymes as two separate formulations, and then I combine it together into one formulation. The bitters is actually very good for your stomach, and the digestive aids help people to break down the food because you're eating foods that are cooked or dead, that it takes a lot more work to break it down. Whereas if you eat an apple or watermelon, those have their enzymes still within the food. So it actually helps to break down itself. Okay. Whereas you're using your enzymes to help break down the foods that don't have them in them anymore. So this is where the digestive enzyme bitters comes in and helps you with that digestive process. All right, so these are some of the things that you can do to help your digestive issues. You can also come into the clinic or call us. I do one-on-one consultations online as well. If you check out our website, organicearthiraw.ca, you'll see that we have a one-on-one coaching session that you can sign up for in there. So you can get your assessments done, and you can get a meal plan and everything, so you have something to follow. And I would take out the foods that would be the most irritating, because there's some foods that are really irritating to the stomach. English potato would be the first one that comes to mind. Green sweet peppers are another one. And some of these things irritate not just the stomach, but some of your joints as well. So you want to be able to, once you move on from the cleanse, refeeding, you want to be able to change up your diet now so that you don't continue to have some of these irritants that will plague you going forward. And you want to set up a whole different routine so that once the digestive system gets working a lot better, you don't want to take any steps back. Um, and this also will play into um, being able to manage your stress as well as your anxieties, because those are things that will also affect the outcome of how your stomach works in the future. So you want long-term success. So it's a combination of things that you have to do, but you have to kind of adopt a more holistic approach and get so for a lot of people we do it over, because it's a journey and not an instant thing, so we do it over time, and each time it gets a lot better. So what happens is people come in and they do a 3-day cleanse, they change their diet, they start to rebuild. We put in the digestive enzymes, the tea, they definitely get their kombucha with their cleanse. And once they get comfortable with changing their diet, then you would do another cleanse in about 3 months. So each time they they continue that process and they do the cleanse, they will create a better environment where the gut can really start to heal and flourish how it should and work really well. And they can also monitor and almost sense for themselves when problems are coming up, when the stresses get too high, and they can start working on um, monitoring their own digestive health by making sure and putting back in some of those, especially if they go off track. Because the minute that you're feeling stressed and you start eating comfort foods, things will come back. So you want to quickly start to um, get back into your greens, get back into your roughage, make sure that you're managing your stress. You can do some yoga, some meditation, some have some kind of outlet for your stresses to reduce the stress that you're holding on to. Practicing good um, sleep hygiene, um, all those things really help in terms of reducing the stress. Okay, because long term this can be a big problem. So you want to be consistent with what you're doing. We talked about that about two episodes ago, and consistency is a big problem for most people when it comes to this. But if you can be consistent, it really helps the gut health, mastering the health, and making your digestive wellness a lot easier to control. And like I said, you don't have to make any of these things. You can buy the ferments. You can do a cleanse. We go through the protocols so that you know step by step what to do, so you can get the transformations that you're looking for. And this can happen. Here, we do the iridology assessment online. We go through what your chief complaints are, and we work on those in terms of the herbs and the foods and that kind of stuff. And so you can let me know if there's anything you would like to talk about that we have discussed today, um, or anything you would like to ask or add to this. I changed the time of the podcast. I brought it up a little earlier, so people will probably be able to look back at this later on. But I'll do just a little review of everything we talked about. The juice cleansing, nutrient absorption, making sure that you're absorbing your nutrients well, because that's a key to this working well. We also talked about monitoring or tracking through iridology what is happening with your gut health. I can see the stomach acid, the digestive absorption. I can actually see if you're having problems with your anxiety and stress rings. So those contribute to the gut health as well. But then the gut health in itself can really start to disturb your cholesterol levels as well as your circulation levels. So those are things that I actually can see as well. So you can see what it is starting to affect. So key to this here is really working on the absorption. So we do that by the juice cleansing is very good at improving the absorption. And then once we do that, we start to rebuild the microbiome and making delicious fermented foods for people to use, and herbal teas as well as the digestive bitters, so they have a good complement of things that they can use so that they can really correct these digestive issues permanently. You don't want people to have to stay on these things, but you want to put a good routine in place and they do it for a while so they can get themselves to um, the point where they're not having the acid reflux, they're not having the bloating all the time, they're not very gassy, and these things can happen from time to time and really cause disruptions. Every time you go to eat, you're feeling uncomfortable after you eat, and it takes a while for the food to digest. So you want to really improve natural flow of your gut bacteria. Okay. So, any other questions? Let's see. Okay, how does coconut water and fruit. Well, coconut water as well as fruits are general fruits. So some are higher in sugar and lower in sugar, but these things are live foods. So when you're talking about live plant foods, they tend to digest a lot easier than cooked foods. So once you're staying away from the animal products, or they're in small portions in your life, for those people that are not doing them and they're more high raw, it will be a lot easy for your body to digest things. One of the two things that are extremely helpful um, in raw food world that aids in digestion would be pawpaw as well as pineapple. Papain and bromelain are two of the active ingredients in those fruit that really help you to break down foods easily. People even use papain or green pawpaw with their meat to soften it up and tenderize the meat. Excuse me, there. Um, so when you're using live foods, you tend to not have the problem with you don't have the problem with you don't have the same problem with the digestion as you do if you're eating cooked foods. So it's a lot less, and I find that mono eating is also helpful. So if you're eating one set of fruit at a time, that is also, instead of mixing up everything, it makes it a lot easier to digest by far. I hope that was helpful. Um, Sometimes if you are already having a problem and your stomach lining is sensitive, some of the fruits that are acidic or acid tasting can be an irritant. So you can have sensitivity in your stomach, and then um, you know put lemon in your water, but you put a whole lemon, and when you drink it, you actually edge your teeth. Your stomach feels upset. These kind of things can happen because the stomach is a bit too sensitive at that point. So you have to use more greens and something more mucilaginous so that you can soothe it, and then you can go back now and you can comfortably eat those things, and you won't have the same problem. I wanted to mention also, I had written in my notes about, yes, pawpaw is the same as papaya. Yeah, for sure. About the herbs, I wanted to list some of the herbs for you. I think I told you a few. We were talking about, yeah, ginger, basil, fennel, guava. These are very soothing to your digestive tract. So these are some that you can start with in terms of supporting your digestive health and healing, helping the process of healing your gut. And for those people that have the anxiety and nervous tendencies, and that is stemming from your gut feeling very jittery and acid sometimes, blue vervain is very helpful for that. So that's another one that you can do. One of the other things that I can see when I do the iridology reading is leaky gut. And this is one where there's perforations in the gut walls where things are getting back into the body system. And you really want to stem that and really clean it up. So a cleanse, something where, and one of the things that we do is the aloe vera lemonade that is done with cayenne, and that helps also to heal all those little perforations and cuts that tend to happen along the lining from the mouth to the anus. So cayenne pepper is very good for that. So I put that as part of the cleansing protocol so that we naturally start to work on some of these things immediately. Chamomile, yes, chamomile can be helpful. It is, I would put it in the same category as we were talking about the blue vervain, something that is very relaxing to the system, and it helps you to calm your nerves and better sleep. Um, those things, once you can reduce the stress, the anxiety from that angle, it also reduces the acidity. So, yes, it is helpful, very helpful. Um, Hey Rhonda. Um, so you should be able to get chamomile in abundance where you are. And for us here in the Caribbean, we would use a bit more of the blue vervain. That would be easier for us to get. So yeah, that's a great question. So yeah, chamomile is very helpful. All right. So, we had an episode that came up last week that I dropped on you with Darren, which was about mushrooms and boosting your immune system and medicinal mushrooms, culinary mushrooms, and psychedelic mushrooms. That was an awesome episode last week, and some of those mushrooms can also play a part in this particular session. I met up with him today, and because he's getting ready to do a retreat here in Barbados, and we were talking about doing reishi kombucha. Is something that since I left or he left the clinic, I've been thinking about it because I have done it before. And it is something where it's now combining two things. You have a very powerful medicinal herb, and you're combining it now with a fermentation process where it now creates a completely new product that really takes it forward. And you can do that particular fermentation in a way where you're targeting specific things. So you can add herbs within the process so that you can focus on your immune system, or you can focus on um, your gut health and that kind of thing. And I mean, the combination of it is amazing just to think about it. Yes, that micro BIM episode, it was awesome. Yes, it was. I really like talking, and we're going to have a post episode where we're talking about what happens after he goes through the process and the actual retreat. So I'm looking forward to that too. And I'm going to be doing some of the food for that. So we're going to be really highlighting the mushrooms that are grown here, the mushrooms that are cultivated, the mushrooms that are found um, in the across BIM. So we're going to be doing everything from portobellas to butter mushrooms to reishi mushrooms. We have a lady here that grows pink oyster, well, pink, blue, and white oyster mushrooms. So those are going to be part of the process. I'm going to get the opportunity to do a few of the recipes for the retreat. So I'm going to get to do some sauce and some tamarind chow mein, and those members inside my Wellness Warriors membership site, I'll be doing the videos as I'm making the food for them, so y'all can see what is going on. So for those of you that are interested in joining the Wellness Warriors, the House of Wellness Warriors, you can check out our website, organicearthiraw.ca, and you can sign up to join. And it's a 75% off right now. So and you can join up for a year at that price. It's only 745 a month. um, and this is where you can get now to see the all the recipes we're going to do, because we're going to do, I think I'm doing five dishes. I'm doing the tamarind chow mein, I'm doing some sauce, I'm doing burgers, I'm doing sushi. There's salads and juices to go with those, as well as I'm thinking of doing some wild rice with lentil sprouts, curry plantain, and portobello riblets. Um, so I'm looking forward to that dish. I like that dish, and I'm going to be putting them up inside the Wellness Warrior so y'all can all see them. And I'm also going to do a little bit of footage, because we also talked about going on a hike and really foraging or hunting for mushrooms. And I like that idea. Barbados has good quality red reishi, which I've collected quite a bit already. And I'm hoping to be with Darren when we find some turkey tail, because that would be really good for cancer patients. Turkey tail works really well in combination with some of the other herbs that I use to tincture for my cancer patients, like dandelion root. So I'm looking forward to that very, very much. All right, so I'm not sure if y'all have any more questions, but this has been an awesome episode, and I'm looking forward to showcasing some of the pictures that we have from the retreat, as well as the foods that we are going to make for the retreat as well. So I will see y'all next week. Have a vibrant and beautiful week, and take care of your guts. Thank you.